He's Charles Davis here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Charles?
I'm doing very well, Rich. Doing very well. I don't think I even got a dowry out of it. So.
You didn't get anything, right? Where were you guys registered?
You know, it was funny. I think we were just starting to get that part taken care of. I mean, the irony of the whole situation is we had spent a little time together.
Yeah.
Me, Jay, Kevin Burkhardt, our producer, director, the whole thing. We actually went and spent a day with him in Nashville. And then we were just getting started on the process of, okay, here's where we're going to do a practice game. We're going to do a rehearsal here, all that. And obviously he got the call, and that point became moot, as Jesse Jackson said on Saturday Night Live.
So, and look, I know your kids are just like you, locked in on the pop culture front. And
yes.
So, more importantly, did you get to meet Kristen Cavallari when you were hanging out?
No, and my daughter is bitter.
I knew that.
Okay?
Yeah,
you knew it. See,
well, I sensed it.
You know. You understand. Daughter's a little hostile right now because she said, "What?"
Yeah.
I wanted to meet, because it was way bigger than just me and Jay getting to work together. It was really more all about Kristen.
So you never even practiced in the booth with Jay? It was just a get to know you thing.
We would get to know you, and we were getting ready. We were going to do a rehearsal. Not even probably. It was scheduled for about a week later, a little bit less than a week. And obviously he got the call and was able to move on. So we were going to get together at the Fox seminar and start the rehearsal process between that and a couple of other games coming up. And then a preseason game was already scheduled for us for this coming weekend with the Chicago Bears at Tennessee Titans. But I'm just telling you, it's funny, Rich, and I'll tell you real quick.
Sure.
I had already scheduled going to visit the Dolphins training camp because, I live in Florida, so I get around to the different places where I can. And I'd already scheduled it a week in advance. And so I was driving down Thursday late afternoon because I wanted to be in position because they practice early Friday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And the first report came about Ryan Tannehill's unfortunate knee injury. Okay, well, we knew he had the injury last year. Hope he's okay. Then later on, hey, the report was this looks serious. And that was my first thought was, okay, if it's as serious as it possibly sounds, I think Adam Gase is going to call Jay Cutler. And then the next day I went to practice. Actually spent time after practice, never brought it up because I didn't feel it was my place to bring it up. But just listening to the conversation, the chatter, the whole thing, I walked out of there convinced that Jay would at least get a call. And whether he would take it or not, I did not know. Went on from there to Nashville to the Titans training camp, came home on Sunday, Rich, driving home, and the radio flashed, hey, breaking news, Jay Cutler signed with the Dolphins. So you knew it had to happen fast if it was going to happen. But more power to him. You offered me $10 million.
Yeah. And
I think something bigger than that. I think a chance to write a different chapter to his legacy as a football player. Because Jay's been 11-year starting quarterback. He's been to the playoffs one time in his career. He's got a chance to go back again and maybe change some perception about how he's viewed, and I wish him all the best.
Well, how do you think he's going to do, Charles? I mean, how do you think this is going to work here in the Patriots division?
Well, the funny part was who's our guy there, Jarvis Landry?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he guarantee a sweep of New England in the offseason?
Yeah, he did.
So they already put it out there. But that was before some things started happening to that football team. The same day that Ryan Tannehill went down, Rich, 2 plays later in practice, and it almost went unnoticed. Ted Larson, starting offensive guard, went down, had a bicep. He's out. Raekwon McMillan, the linebacker they drafted at Ohio State, gone for the season with the ACL. They just signed Ray Maluga to try and replace him. When you start to have those dings and bangs along the way, you don't have the same team you had. I think Jay will be okay there, and it's not just because he knows Adams' offense. It's because he trusts him. I mean, looking back at the year that he had, and, well, I know this can sound trite to people, but at the end of that season, and you and I both know, Jay Cutler's had a lot of dance partners, head coaches, offensive coordinators, right? At the end of that season, you remember what he did? He sent his tailor to Adam Gase to the office to suit him and boot him as an appreciation for the year that they had. So it's much deeper than just simply he knows the playbook and this and that. There's a trust factor that goes along big time. And I thought that the move that Jay and Mike Tannenbaum and Chris Greer, the general manager of the Dolphins, made was Keynesian, meaning they could have done it conventionally and hoped to be 8-8, maybe push with Matt Moore. But instead they took a little bit of a leap, in order to try and be great, and I applaud him for giving it a shot.
Charles Davis of Fox Sports NFL Network joining me here on the show. You're going to see the Bears this Sunday. What do you and you were there with us in Philadelphia when Trubisky got drafted, and the whole place went nuts, and everybody started scratching their heads whether this was the right move. And now I led the show saying if Cutler last year to John Fox didn't earn anything until he earned it, then why does Mike Glennon have this gig over Trubisky?
Yeah.
Charles?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rich. I know they signed Mike in the offseason thinking he would be the guy. I don't know that everyone in Chicago had sat down and come to a consensus about drafting Mitchell Trubisky. I think Ryan Pace had conviction about him and decided that's where they wanted to go. I think that if they want to be a team that can get back into the mix in the NFC North, you got to have a guy that you count on as a trigger guy. And them drafting Trubisky tells you that they didn't have that kind of conviction about Mike Glennon, or they think he's definitely an upgrade. So they made the move. And if you make that kind of move, Rich, I'm of the opinion that we know it's not if, but when, I would go ahead and get Trubisky in the saddle as fast as I could.
Well, I mean, because the way
I don't see any reason to wait.
Well, it's the way he looks too, Charles. It's not as if he doesn't know where he's going with the football, and it's not as if he can't get out of trouble with his legs. It does appear that for somebody who might have to learn on the job, he doesn't look lost right now. Now, I understand he's going against threes with a lot of man coverage, and the Atlanta Falcons are first up, and they have a particular bit of nastiness on that defensive side of the ball. By the way, Dan Quinn joining us on the show tomorrow. But you got to wonder why not for a team that I don't believe has any playoff hopes with Mike Glennon here.
3-13 last year. If I draft him, I'm finding a way to get him ready to play. Otherwise, to me, I'm just wasting games. Remember when Bortles first came in with Jacksonville, and Dave Caldwell and that crew told us that he was going to pretty much redshirt that year, and what was it, 3-4 games in?
Yeah.
I was like, well, you kind of wasted 3 or 4 games, didn't you? I mean, you might as well have gone ahead and played him. That's the way I look at things. I know that they have their reasons and all. But here's the other part of it, too. Could there have been a worse juxtaposition in Game 1, Rich, than Mike Glennon, right, who's had to fight this all off since Trubisky got drafted? You know, he's the guy. He goes out there in the first series, he throws a pick six. And then as soon as Trubisky gets on the field, he runs the 2-minute drill, and they stick it in the end zone with a touchdown pass. And not only that, Trubisky by him doing that, how fast did it go from, God, we don't know he can even take a snap? Because you remember his first day at practice? Because I know the reporting.
Yeah, no, 3 fumbles.
Trubisky came and take a snap.
I know.
And that's all gone. And now everybody's firmly on the Trubisky train, and Chicago's been trying to get it right at quarterback for a long, long time. I think that, I'm going to see him this weekend, Rich.
Yep.
I can't wait to ask John Fox and crew, where are we going with this? What's going to happen? Because I do see him in the opener as well. I would not be surprised if Trubisky takes the first snap when they play Atlanta.
Part of a doubleheader on Fox, Chicago at Tennessee at 1, and then Cincinnati at Washington at 4:30 Eastern Time. Charles Davis here on the show. So we all know, again, Fox has the NFC package. Who do you think wins the NFC? Who do you think reps the NFC in Minnesota this year when it's all said and done?
Well, I'm not counting Atlanta out by any stretch. Everybody's going on the hangover thing, the whole deal. DQ was in Seattle, then he left. He was there when they had the disappointment against New England. I think that behind closed doors, it wouldn't surprise me at all if DQ stood up in front of that team and said, guys, I might not have handled things well down the stretch, and I plan to get better, blah, blah, blah. I think that team believes in him and likes him. And I'm not saying he gets a free pass, but I also think that a guy like DQ will stand up in front of his team and expose himself a little bit. And I think that little bit of vulnerability goes a long way with some of those guys, rather than holding a position that they may not believe in. Pete Carroll did a fantastic job in trying to keep Seattle rallied after the interception against New England, but the guys didn't believe it. Remember, he never said it was a bad call. He always said the outcome was bad. And I think a lot of those guys felt like he was parsing words. The only reason I say that is, why was Richard Sherman still yelling at Darrell Bevell 2 seasons later, which was last year, during a regular season game, to run the football? It's stuck in their craw a long time. I think Atlanta has a better chance of releasing those feelings, and so I'm not counting them out. I firmly expect them to see Green Bay again down the stretch. I really think those are the teams.
Charles, love chatting with you. Good luck over the weekend and then throughout the season. Let's check back in with each other, okay?
Look forward to it, and thanks for the support as always.
Oh,
Rich.
come
Tell
on.
everyone hi for me.
Hey, before I let you go, tell me, how's Tennessee going to look this year? What do you think of Tennessee?
I think that they can be a little bit of a surprise, but someone there told me the other day the big thing there is to keep the confidence of the fans because we are on a good track, but maybe we're not a championship team yet. We'll see.
All right. They're 25th in the top 25 poll. Number one being Alabama. That just came out, by the way, preseason.
Well, we'll see. We'll see you in Arlington for Michigan, Florida, big guy.
Oh, my gosh.
That's a great opener.
I know.
Great opener.
I know, but Florida suspended 7 players for it.
Yes.
What do you think?
And one of them might be on his opportunity 7 as well. So.
Take care of yourself, Charles. We'll chat down the line.
Be good, Rich.
You
Take
got
care.
it. You got it.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on radio stations across the country and audience.
If you liked some of that, get some more of that on the Rich Eisen Show app. Follow all the information you see right here on the Rich Eisen Show.